I buy plants and kill them. What can you recommend? So I get asked that question, but there is no simple answer for that because gardening itself is very complex and a lot of issue can get wrong. And especially you need to consider what kind of plant, because usually you can grow successfully kind of invasive plants because they will grow without your care, it doesn't matter. And some plants will not grow without your care. So that's plant what we usually grow on our landscaping design or maybe your garden. So you need to provide specific care. So you need to know what kind of plant you grow and what kind of plant you're killing. And if you're killing every single plant, even invasive plant, for example, mint, it's possible to kill mint even in Florida because they cannot survive our summer. But we consider it as kind of invasive plant. It's supposed to be thriving in any environment. Not really. And you need to learn maybe basics of growing any plants. Basics, I mean, watering, weeding, sun, temperature. That's a lot of things. And maybe if you keep killing a lot of plants, you need to revisit what you know about plants and what you can do differently. So I would recommend going and researching what that specific plant needs in terms of sun exposure, in terms of temperature, and see if you can mimic that environment. Sometimes in Florida, it's very hard to mimic environment because it doesn't exist. For example, I should be able to grow during winter time a lot of winter crop, that crop which likes cool temperature. But we don't always have that cool temperature during winter time. This season we had a lot of days with really in 80s. And 80s very, very intense for all that. Peas, radishes, kohlrabis or brassicas or whatever you grow. For example, I have very little success with radishes this year. They don't form bulbs. I tried different things like putting them in a shade area, but they don't grow in shaded area at all. So they need some sun. Once I put them in the sun, they don't like it. They keep like building and going straight to flowering. So it can be different things. So if you keep killing plants, you need to see like, do you have enough water them? Do you have enough sun? Or maybe you have too much sun. That's possible. Another thing what people missing here in Florida, that we have very high UV index. It's very low during our winter time. It's usually like around 4, which is supposed to be fine. But if you have temperature around 80s, which was very common right now, it's actually most plants will not like that. And if you're going to work, you are not around your garden, you miss that watering. And once you get home, it's already dead. But what I found out, some people just simply cannot follow instruction. Even I give them instruction, they for some reason think they're smarter than me, and they don't follow, they do their own thing. And plant dead is in 3 days, and apparently that's my fault. That's not my fault. If you got from me like thriving plant and you did something wrong, you killed that plant. Nothing wrong with the plant. It's a common demand. What is the common between that? You did something wrong. You basically need to learn some basic. And by the way, I have some video how to propagate plants. It's very, very basic. This is how kids learn how to propagate, not adults. Because we adults, for some reason, skipping all that details, small details, and straight go to some specific action, and then our propagation fail. It's quite tough actually, and for me it's easy because I do involve in gardening since age 4, so I grow plants for 30 plus years. And sometimes I don't know where to start when people ask me such questions, why I keep failing on something. In Florida specifically, maybe you have too much sun and very little water. Sometimes we have enough water, for example, during summertime. But still, sun is too harsh because that specific plant was not growing naturally. That plant is not from Florida, from somewhere else. I wish I can answer that question in one sentence or create a just 10 minutes video, but that's not possible because I need to know all these small details, but I can't. So you need to find out. The most important skill in gardening will be observation skill. If you cannot do observation, if you are not very detailed person, you cannot pay attention all these small details, I would say go and journaling. Have a book and make notes. This plant did that. You might record temperatures. You might record there how many suns that plants get, when you started them, when they did, when you harvested. I never done it before, and I started to do that only because this year I'm doing vertical gardening, and because I have so many plants there, basically I have like 100 pockets. And I don't know where I planted, what I planted, and because sometimes seeds don't germinate. So I just go to Keep or any place on your cell phone, or if you're a paper person, go to your paper and do it on paper. I do it and I see like all my vertical gardening has numbers on their pocket. I go and next to that pocket will write down when I planted seed, what kind of seed I planted, and then in around like 2-3 weeks I go and check and do plus mark next to that one if they are germinated. If they didn't germinate after 3 weeks, it's probably gone and won't be there anymore. So I plant something else. I will not remove that record. I will just do comma and go next record. Like I planted something else there because I had like 3-4 different seeds which never germinated, or germination was so poor, like I have like one single plant from it. So keeping records will be number one things which you want to try and see if you have any progress. Sometimes when you buy plants actually in nursery, I don't like their soil mix, because that soil mix probably almost always 100% of peat moss, and this soil is very, very difficult. Even I killed plants on that soil, because if you haven't seen my video about my macadamia tree, I almost killed because it was planted in that soil. I have to replant that one to another soil, which actually absorbs moisture much better and it doesn't dry out so fast. But I was not able to remove that soil. It's almost impossible to remove that peat moss from your bowl and to add another mix. But at least once new roots were growing to that new soil, it was much better. So let me in the comment below, maybe you have better advice how to keep your plants alive.